We increased our HODL position year over year by 51%. And for hodlers, that means hold on for dear life because Bitcoin is volatile. And really is that we mine Bitcoin and we put it on our balance sheet. And that went up to recently over $200 million.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Frank Holmes. He is the executive chairman of Hive Digital Technologies. And Frank, welcome back. Good to see you again.
It's great to be with you, especially after all these elections.
Yeah, it's been a wild one. We'll talk about that in just a second, but I know the company is out with your production results for October. And again, Frank, you're seeing continued growth within the mining part of the Bitcoin.
Yes, well, and we're very happy with that because we incrementally increased our production month over month. We increased our HODL position year over year by 51%. And for hodlers, that means hold on for dear life because Bitcoin is volatile. And really is that we mine Bitcoin and we put it on our balance sheet. And that went up to recently over $200 million.
Wow, it's exciting stuff for sure. And in the news release, you also talked a little bit about Paraguay and what's going on there. Update everyone on what's happening, and that's obviously going to help with what you're talking about here in this incremental growth.
Well, it's a green country in that respect that it has hydroelectricity, huge surplus of hydroelectricity. They sell it to neighboring countries that don't pay, and Bitcoin mining pays every month. So really, they're getting US dollars and it becomes an embedded currency hedge that's really helpful for the country. And for Hive shareholders, it's a major home run because we stay green and clean, and we're going to double our production to be 2% of the global network.
Yeah, Frank, I know that you had talked to before about putting in these new machines and the process was ongoing. That's continuing, correct?
Correct. Every month, we're incrementally buying more and more machines and for more energy efficient. What that really means is that the engineers will say it's 30 joules to mine this coin, and these new machines are 22. These new machines are 19. So you want to get rid of the old ones and all of a sudden replace them with more energy efficient machines. And that's what we've been doing.
Okay. You mentioned the election. Obviously, it will be a Republican in the White House, and former President Donald Trump is now the president-elect. I know you were, I believe, at a conference that Trump spoke at, talking specifically about Bitcoin and what's going to happen as far as that sector is concerned. Maybe remind everyone about that and what you're seeing coming out of a Republican White House.
Well, it's interesting because the elections were very broad across the country, and it really measured the sentiment. And there was a pushback against the previous government's policies. It's really, and this time people dismissed and ignored Trump's sort of behavior as a person, and they focused more on his policies. And if you look what the stock market did last cycle, if you look at the border safety, that was a big issue of illegal immigrants coming across the border by over 10 million. That was really important. And what we saw was, look at Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, but one of the greatest legal immigrants. Remember, he came from South Africa to Canada and then came to the US. He has a cabinet of a lot of immigrants that are highly successful. So I think a lot of people, demographic wise, made that swing in that vote. People have to feel safe, Steve. It's really important, the idea of both emotionally, financially, physically. And I think that was what took place. The market loved it because he's market oriented, that he wants private businesses to ignite job creation with innovation. So you saw this huge surge in all stocks. So it's very bullish. This is the strongest cabinet that's going to be there for Bitcoin, that believe in Bitcoin as an important diversifying asset. So I think it's very bullish. He also wants to have Bitcoin as a currency, as a reserve. That's a complete 180 from the previous administration. And the Bitcoiners were big supporters of him. But so was Michael Bloomberg, that gave him $50 million, gave Harris $50 million. So we saw a lot of money from big players betting on the various
Candidates,
I
yeah.
would say. And so I think it was a positive outcome based on the Wisdom of Crowds book that says that actually the crowd is wise when you have a clean voting mechanism.
Yeah, Frank. Lastly, he talked about earlier in the campaign red tape and how he felt there was too much of that. So, is that a positive thing for business moving forward? Is the red tape, and especially getting rid of things that would aid things, natural resources, things like that. He really talked heavily about that part of the sector as well.
Well, I think for every part of the economy, America wants to be independent of relying on oil imports from other countries.
Mm.
In particular, have to come from Venezuelans or Middle East, etc. That concept of being so you're going to see a huge interest in lithium. The lithium stocks have been on a surge. Any mining assets in America are becoming more and more valuable. We've seen the disruptions in West Africa, in Niger for uranium. Kazakhstan cut back. So America all of a sudden is showing up in Texas. So I think that the trade between Canada and the U.S. will be very, very important. And I really remain quite bullish, in particular, Steve, because of his cabinet, who he surrounded himself with.
Mm.
Are innovators. They're capital market savvy. The story of his vice president is like the all-American story. This is
Yeah.
incredible person when he was all the difficulties he had to overcome to where he is today. But capital market savvy, went to Yale Law School. I feel really confident that the policies will be very strong for economic growth, and in particular between our two countries.
All right, we'll leave it there, Frank. I appreciate your insight. Very wise, of course, and also for the update on what's going on with the Bitcoin market as well. So, thanks, my friend. Good to see you.
Wheels up.
There's Frank Holmes, Executive Chairman of Hive Digital Technologies.